What was your favorite part of tonight's stream, Perry? If you can really think, I know there was a lot of good moments. What was your
favorite part of tonight's stream?
Favorite part of tonight's stream, yeah.
This part, the ending.
I see what you did there.
Okay.
My favorite part was talking about getting that tattoo removed, and all.
Yeah, it's pissed me off.
No, just to figure out how we're going to do it. Because I think we right over it.
Just to piss me off. Just to piss me off.
I'm leaning towards alter it.
All right.
Altering it now, not just removing it.
There's no altering of nothing. The arm is not going to be touched.
Because here's the thing. It does say snowboarder.
Blah, blah,
and
blah,
streamer starts with an S, so we can leave the S. We just got to work on the...
There's nothing that's going to be touched. God damn it. Good night.
O can be turned into an R, right? And then we're almost there. And then the W can maybe rearrange to be an E, and then also an M, right? And then ER ends snowboarder. It also ends streamer. So if we get a really talented tattoo artist to come in and really touch that up, I think it could work. I think that's the answer.
Good night!
That's a defiant dining room light turn on. All right, good night, Perry. Good job. We'll see you Sunday, and we'll get the winner of the. Everybody will vote. We'll do the winner on. We'll do the winner on Sunday. You want to say good night?
Good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Not going to Vegas!
You are going to Vegas.
Not with you, that's for goddamn sure.
Yes, with me. We're going to get a nice hotel room. We're going to have fun. We're going to gamble. What's your favorite gambling game? If you are in a casino, what do you play? Are you blackjack, roulette, poker? Do you stick with slots? Do you do craps? What do you do at a casino? Perry, can you hear me?
Yeah, what do you need?
I'm just asking, what's your favorite casino game?
What's my favorite casino?
Right, no, not your favorite casino. What's your favorite casino game? When you're in a casino and you got to spend some money to gamble.
The slot machines.
Oh, you're a slot guy. Okay. The buffet. That's good. You know, I used to hear that casinos would be weird about people taking photography and filming in casinos, but I was in Vegas last year. I see it all the time now, so I think we can film some stuff of you playing the slots. Would you ever do the $100 slot machines? I've always been tempted to do that, even though it's crazy. There was a guy, I forget. I think it was in the Bellagio last year. I was in Vegas for CES last 2020, and there was a guy that took a chance at one of the $100 slots, and he hit like, he got like $50,000. It was crazy. Oh, okay. You can film in casinos on the game floor now, but you cannot film the action or the dealers. That's what Hero says. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, because I've seen like YouTube channels now that like just all they do is just show people playing slot machines, and it's pretty fascinating to watch people in casinos. So we can get some footage of Perry doing this stuff. That makes sense though, not showing the dealers and stuff. You can play roulette. Oh, he shut down. Okay. I guess he was not in the mood to talk about our casino games. Wallace Shawn is the dealer. That's the only good part of Vegas Vacation. The only good part of that movie, the only part that is remotely funny is when Chevy Chase goes to that down and dirty casino after he's wiped out by Wallace Shawn, and it's like, what number am I thinking of, and like, what's in my hand type of shit. That's the funniest thing in that whole movie. The whole movie is trash except for that one season. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys liked the end. Yeah, I didn't know how that was gonna go, but I'm glad you guys liked that. Yeah, they play war. That was good. I love that. I love that. I hated the movie, but I like that scene. It's too bad that the rest of the movie could not be as good as that one scene. he probably is restarting for Pornhub. No, it's. Come on, Garrett. When's the last time you saw Vegas Vacation? It's not a good movie. Mumbles just said it's better than European Vacation. European Vacation is great. Vegas Vacation is perfect. Wow. No, we haven't set a date for Vegas. Here's the deal. I'm not doing Vegas. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you. Here's the thing with Vegas is the channel has to grow a little bit before we can do that. So we'll see how we do over the summer, going into the fall. But I want to have an average of at least 1,000 viewers on average, and we're not quite there yet. So I do want to get a bigger pull-in of a crowd. Yeah, the buffet scenes. I haven't seen it in a while, but Vegas for Thanksgiving, I'd be cool around Thanksgiving. I'm not gonna do it on Thanksgiving, but around then. European Vacation is really good. It's one of those PG-13 movies that probably should be R. It's just on the cusp. Because when PG-13 first came out, they would show nudity. They would have F-bombs and stuff, and then over time PG-13 got kind of softer and softer. But it's also one of those sequels that, I talked about this at some point where you have a very good comedy that's a hard R, like an R-rated comedy, and then whenever our R-rated comedy got a sequel by the studio, they were always PG-13 and then PG, and like Police Academy, R-rated movie, sequel was PG-13 and then they were PG. By the time they were done, they were almost G-rated. Revenge of the Nerds too, hard R, PG-13 sequel. So I like the R. I wish they would have kept it rated R. Although it would have probably been hard to do Christmas Vacation. And Christmas Vacation, I think, was PG. Yeah, you can have one F-bomb on a PG-13 now, but I think back then it was a little different. What else would Perry be doing for Thanksgiving? I don't know. Maybe Perry celebrates things. Maybe, how about this? Maybe we all get together for one big Thanksgiving feast, like Perry's first real Thanksgiving in a long time. Maybe we all do Thanksgiving together and give thanks to each other because you guys are awesome. I think we got a really positive community and we all seem to like each other. There's very few negativity, even in just the regular chat. Like everybody seems to be pretty positive and cool. Maybe we all just get a big room and just do Thanksgiving dinner. Perry's at the head of the table, and can you imagine passing the cranberry and mashed potatoes around a table of a couple of hundred people, maybe, assuming we all go. I think that would be cool. Your birthday's the 27th? Well, we'll see. We'll see how much the channel grows over the next couple of months. And I know a lot of that's on me. But that would be pretty cool. Yeah, Perry used to go to Thanksgiving at the Laugh Factory where it would basically be the guy who runs the Laugh Factory started this thing on Thanksgiving where it would be basically gives Thanksgiving dinner to homeless people, and people really down on their luck, and comedians like Paul Rodriguez would help serve food and everything, and Perry would always go there because it was a free meal, and he didn't care about Thanksgiving because he was a Jehovah's Witness at the time, and he would just go there for the free meal, which always kind of struck me as wrong. Yeah, you can't react to Disneyland story in any way but negatively. Yeah, that's true. Just remove the YouTube side and we're gone. Yeah, I have noticed the YouTube. The YouTube people are a little edgy, but eventually I'll say this. I don't know when it's going to happen, but we're probably going to get partnership any day now with Twitch, and one of the things there is you got to be exclusive on Twitch. So we won't be even doing live streams on YouTube anymore. It'll just be Twitch. Thanksgiving pool party. Yeah, I think it's for the best too, Dusty. I think no, I'm not worried about YouTube affecting the numbers, because this is honestly for the live streams. Twitch is where it's at. That's where all the main chat is, and everything is on Twitch. And I think people complain it's less glitchy on YouTube. But if there's only streaming to one platform, Twitch is going to be rock solid. I know, Defiant P, you were right. Says TomB, I told you after our last session that I didn't like that Elon guy, him and his shitty comments about your weight over and over. I found it amusing to a certain point, but then tonight he was just really annoying. He was just really fucking annoying. So out and Z with him. But I gave him a lot of rope. And again, I've got a really thick skin. I don't care most of the time what people say or anything like that. I forget, honestly, Gary, it was so long ago I forget. He was saying something about the computer problems or something. I forget, but he was made that, and everybody was happy to see him go. I forget the exact comment. Maybe somebody can remind me, but I forget. I my memory's like Perry at this time because it was so long ago. It's like 4 a.m. here. Yeah, I got my own troll. But I thought he was an amusing troll for a while, so I didn't get too upset, but whatever. Yeah, there was like a few assholes, but then there was like one guy on YouTube who kept creating accounts to like call me a boomer. And I'm not even a boomer, I'm a proud Gen Xer. But I get it, the go-to thing is like, oh, if somebody's having computer problems, they're a boomer. And I wasn't having computer problems, it wasn't me. I mean, by the way, not for nothing, but I used to run my own business based on computer consulting, so I do know computers and I do know hardware. But this Streamlabs shit has been so problematic lately, and I don't know, we might move to another platform eventually because I really want to bump things up. But yeah, well, and again, getting back to the no YouTube thing, it's just no YouTube live streams. I'll still put the old streams on YouTube at some point, but if you're a partnership with Twitch, part of the terms of service is you have to be exclusive to Twitch for live streams, which does make sense. So it would just be building this channel up more, and I think the quality would get better. And I just got to spend more money on things with the stream. It's tough for me right now, not to get too personal, but I'm like getting into serious debt with this house shit. And fuck. So ideally I'd like to have two computers, like two high-end like basically if I have my druthers, I'd like two good quality rigs for myself and also two for Perry, because there's going to be times where I want to run it from his end. Most of the time I want to run it from my end, and there's ways to do it where it's going to look great. I got to get, I'm still desperate for video cards and stuff. And I'd like to get more equipment. I got to get a camera for myself, for my new setup. And, I'm getting by with what I have now, but it's getting to the point where I have to upgrade pretty serious. I can get a server blade instead of a second computer. Yeah, fill me in on that, because that's shit I don't know about. But yeah, I'll still upload. Once I get internet at my house, which is allegedly happening on Monday, I'm going to hit the ground running with trying to get the backlog of older streams on YouTube, so that'll happen. Because there's other people involved. Like I got to get thumbnails made. There's a couple that are ready to go, but I don't have thumbnails for them and things like that. So I'm not going to abandon YouTube. It's just that we probably won't do live streams on YouTube anymore. That's the only thing. But again, everything costs money. I want to get video cards are inflated because of these like Bitcoin miners and everything. It's just impossible. It's so ridiculous. And also there's a global chip shortage. There's a shortage on just about anything right now, electronic. Even like I need to get a washer dryer for the house. I had to buy all appliances for the house too. I had to buy a refrigerator, which I never bought a refrigerator before because I've always like lived in apartments and stuff, and they've always been furnished with one. So I had to buy a refrigerator. So I'm just like bleeding financially right now with a lot of stuff going on. But I do want to put money back into this stream. Maybe I can borrow money from Perry, if he'd be so kind as to help out with the stream financiers. Yeah, the PS5 is hard to find. I heard they're actually going to redesign the PS5 sometime next year, which is good because I hate the way it looks now. Thanks, Stank. I appreciate that. Yeah, we will get there eventually. We just got to build things up. I had a little bit of a slowdown. This month was really tough for me, even with content. And I have stuff to upload on Patreon that I haven't got to because I had to go to California at the beginning of the month, and I was there for 11 days, and then all stuff with like the house moving stuff with family stuff, my dad, other stuff that I'm not even bringing up. It was just a crazy month. So hopefully that thing's a thing. And I have no. I'm with Hero. I'm not in any rush to get the PS5. There's a shortage on everything. There's a shortage. There's a shortage on dryers. I was lucky to get the dishwasher I got and I ordered it from like Home Depot, and I had ordered it like months ago. It just came, and it's just like it's crazy like what these things go for. And even there's so like I'll let you in on this, like it's so stupid, but like at the house that I have now, there's the guy who designed it, like he flipped it, but he did a lot of work on the house, and there's this like little closet space he built for the washer dryer in the in one of the bathrooms, and there's like this tiny little closet that you open up. And then there's the washer dryer, and it's like I had to look for one that fit in that space, but it's like you got to be like Gumby to get by to do any wash. So I had the contractor over help me with the plumbing, and I was saying like, how in the hell did you design it like this? There's no washer. I found a washer dryer that fits in there. It's delayed, of course. And he's like, well, we can knock down this wall. We can knock down this wall if you don't mind having a washer dryer in the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. I don't care. He's like, at that point, you could fit any washer dryer in there. But again, everything's back ordered, so I'll be doing wash at my parents' for a while. I think like a college kid, because I won't have a washer dryer or the laundry mat. This apartment I'm in right now, my old apartment, which I'm broadcasting from, I was lucky enough to actually have a washer and dryer in the apartment, which is rare, and I got used to that. That's a good Johnny Dangerously quote. But yeah, now it's 4 a.m. But thanks for sticking through all the bullshit with the stream turning on and off tonight. I really tried to work through that audio issue because there was a glitch, and I always feel it when there's a glitch. It's like this whole screen like flashes, and it's the software, and it just goes kablooey, and then you get it back, but it's just it was so annoying. So thanks everybody for staying around and like coming back, because I hate doing that. I hate starting and stopping the stream, and it's so amateur. Like whenever you see other streamers or whatever, or like YouTubers, whatever, and they're doing a live stream and they can't figure out their shit, like their cameras don't work, they can't get their microphone on or something like that. It's so embarrassing, and I hate being in that category. But thank you for sticking with it, because it was annoying. When will Perry move into a beautiful 2-bedroom mansion and 1 bathroom in the hills? I don't know about that, but I can see him in a small house in Tarzana, or something like that. If the channel gets really big and he's overpaying his debts and stuff like that, maybe that could happen. That's cool. I love that I can go out for drinks with friends and come back and we're still going strong. Yeah. You missed a good one. This is going to be a tough one too. So there's going to be a slight thing. I'm going to do my best to get this up on Credenza Patreon tomorrow. But since it's in a couple of parts, I got to edit it in Premiere. I can't do that now because it's 4 a.m. and I do have to drive home because I can't like go to sleep now. I can't like turn this off and go to sleep. I got to like actually got to pack up some stuff here because I still got stuff littered around here. And go back to home and then come back here at some point and then edit it and put it back up. So I do have this apartment through Wednesday. So I'm glad it turned out good. I am because I was worried for a while at the beginning. It's like I came in the apartment like there was no electricity. It was a disaster. This whole week's been such shit. It's like so bad. Between all the stuff that happened at the house with the no internet, no electricity, no plumbing, all the stuff that you would expect to be there. And air, yeah. Well, I don't have anything here. Like there's stuff in this room. I have some stuff in the kitchen, like some stuff in like the cabinets, like cans and stuff like that. Because going to California really messed me up. For moving because all the boxing and stuff I should have done, would have been done then. And when I got back, I had to hit the ground running. I hadn't done any packing at all. And then the movers came on Monday, so. Yeah, thanks to Jay Sibes, I hope I'm saying that right, Sibes, for his gifted sub. I'm glad you become... You're missing out on the entertainment because of the night shifts. Yeah, I think I'm going to mix up the time for Sundays at least. Not, this Sunday will be at 12 noon, but I think we can arrive at maybe doing them at like 2 p.m. I like the consistency of having every stream start at the same time, but it's just not realistic for everybody. So I think ideally stick with 5 p.m. Pacific for Wednesday. I'm not married to 6 p.m. Pacific on Friday. Part of me thinks it's too late, especially tonight because we had all those problems and the delays. I did want to go past midnight though. That was my goal for tonight, was also to go past midnight. So you technically do a stream on the 26th. I know that's important to a lot of you. So I did want him streaming technically on the 26th, which we did. So I did like that. It's a good observation, Mr. Giant Dog. With Perry, you have to have a carrot dangling at all times. When he gets comfortable, he takes everything for granted, gets lazy, refuses to cooperate, and you really do have to do everything at gunpoint with this guy. Yeah, there's got to be points where I'm working overtime just to pull him in and get him back, and it does get exhausting. Am I still saying Jay Say? Because he said I don't know. I gotta look at it again. I thought it was Jay Sibes or whatever. I'll clarify it. I'll put that to memory. I got a lot of things on my brain at the moment, so maybe I'm not saying it right. Cocky Perry's your least favorite. Yeah, it's my least favorite too. Do I think Perry will be smart enough to listen to the after shows? Man, I mean, it's not about smart. It's about caring. And will he care enough to listen? I doubt it. But I don't think we say anything that he wouldn't be into. Like, there's things I would like to do an after... You see, he's just not capable of it. Like, I would legitimately like to do an after stream with him where... we talk about movies or something. Daythinker, yeah, it's International Subscriber Sunday, but don't hold. It's really for anybody. You can submit your phone number if you want. If you're in the United States, international means everywhere, so including the United States. But I'm going to give a strong preference to people from other countries, but anybody, can, I'm not going to say no to North America. But I know a lot of UK fans, a lot of European fans keep asking for that, so. Yeah, we'll do the movie thing on Discord. We'll definitely get that set up. How does Discord, because I don't know this, how does Discord work with like everybody using the microphone? Does it get weird with like people talking over each other? Chaz, I'm very disappointed with there's no way I'm seeing the fucking Birdcage at Westbury. I hate the Birdcage. I think that movie sucks. I saw that when it came out in the theater originally. I definitely don't want to see it now. There's no movies playing there that I have any interest in. Probably a bad idea to have another sip of. You loved God, you loved the Birdcage? Oh, I thought it was terrible. I saw it with a girlfriend at the time, and I hated it so much. I was embarrassed for Gene Hackman in that movie. And I love Gene Hackman. He's one of my favorite actors. You can set your own sidechain options in Discord or just mod the shit out of it. Okay, we'll figure it out. I never saw the French original, but I'm sure it's better. I mean, it's guaranteed. It's got to be better. Best Gene Hackman movie. What's that? You can't count. He's got to be the star. So you can't count Superman. But what's the best? No, I never saw World's Greatest Dad. I probably avoided it because of Robin Williams, to be honest. So I never saw it. Good night, Garrett. I will try to get home safe. I'm going to wrap up real soon. French Connection is probably the right answer for the best. Thanks for everything you do, Garrett. Garrett's been super awesome lately. And we'll get those contest results. It's funny. The Conversation, I saw it last year for the first time. I had never seen it. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. But there's a lot of great things in that movie. It's a good character study, but it's very, that movie would never get made today because it's so it's so 70s. It's so like there's no studio that would greenlight that movie now. Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore? Billy Madison for me, hands down, is the better movie. I think Happy Gilmore is a little overrated, but also good. I like both, kind of, but those are the only two Adam Sandler movies I like and can stomach. After that, I check out. I don't like any Adam Sandler movie after those two. Those are the only two movies I like that Adam Sandler did. Yeah, I agree with you. Conversation acting is better than French Connection, but I think French Connection is a more entertaining movie. And I never saw French Connection 2, which just seems very unnecessary. No, I never saw Grandma's Boy. I was watching this. I guess it was this morning, and it was just like a little clip on YouTube of Quentin Tarantino talking about the movie Joker. And the movie Joker, I think, is overrated, and it's fine, but I don't hate it. I don't love it. But he made a very good point when he was talking about it, and he was saying how there was one line that kind of just like spoke to me, where he said, he was talking about the scene, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for anybody, but the scene where the Joker is on the talk show with Robert De Niro, and then he pulls out the gun, and Tarantino's point in talking about it was, if you didn't see Joker in the theater, you didn't see it. And that kind of resonated with me because he was talking about that scene and how there's a palpable tension in the theater when there's a crowded theater and there's this palpable tension that everyone's experiencing. And he's right. And it made me think of, what are other movies where if you didn't see it in the theater, you didn't see it? Now, obviously, you could see it at home and technically you saw the movie, but did you really experience it? And I was thinking of other movies in my head, like, wow, if you didn't see that in the theater, you didn't see it. You just missed the boat. And you had to have seen it in the theater. And I'm not talking about necessarily a big screen experience, like, oh, this has to be seen on the big screen. That's different. I mean, like, the theater experience itself aids the movie to the point where you have to be, engaged in, like, especially in a crowded theater, like maybe opening weekend or something like that. And I was going through my head of, like, movies. And I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood qualifies as a movie where if you didn't see it in the theater, you just didn't see it. And then the other one I was thinking of is Pacific Rim, which is not the greatest movie if you see it if you just happen to catch it on TV. But seeing that in the theater was an extraordinary experience. I really enjoyed it. I agree with Jackass. It's a great experience in the theater. But there's got to be a huge list. Avatar is probably a good call. Like, where movies, like, if somebody says, like, oh yeah, I saw that on demand or whatever, or I rented it on Amazon. And you just have to, and that's why I was so annoyed with the Final Destination movies. I never saw any of them. Jackass 4 is probably going to be super cringe. I agree with Hero. But, like, I'm so, like, the past year, like, theaters took such a hit, and I really hope that, oh yeah, Silence of the Lambs, especially if you saw it, like, opening weekend. I saw it, like, I think the Saturday afternoon after it opened. There are scenes in that movie where, like, and again, when you're sitting in a theater with Endgame is a good call. When you're sitting in a theater and there's, like, the whole theater's packed, everyone's in it, but then when there's scenes where there's real tension and suspense, like when Jodie Foster's in the at the very end when she's in Buffalo Bill's, like, little place, and he's wearing the night vision goggles, and that was kind of a new thing at the time. The whole theater's dead quiet because there's such tension and you're all experiencing it at the same time. You just don't get that at home. There's no way, especially now with, like, phones and shit and everybody, like, looking at their phones or whatever. Yeah, Pulp Fiction, probably every Tarantino, to be honest, but Pulp Fiction specifically. But there's certain movies where, like, you just... And it's obviously there's some movies that you're too young for. Like, some people are not old enough to have seen Star Wars in the theater. I mean, I barely remember seeing Star Wars, but so that's, that doesn't count. I think you get an asterisk if you see them upon re-release. Like, I never saw Raiders of the Lost Ark when that first came out, but I've seen it in theaters on numerous re-releases, and think, oh, that's a great call. Hereditary with the car accident scene. I saw that in the theater. Oh my God, was that, oof, yeah, brutal. I'll say the same for Dr. Sleep, which we've talked about. Dr. Sleep in the theater was amazing. I saw that with a pretty, I wouldn't say it's a full house, but it was there was enough people in the theater where you felt the tension at various points. And you can't get that. I don't care how, you can have a home theater where you can have an amazing thing set up and everything, and it doesn't come. Dr. Sleep was terrible, says Mr. Giant Dog. Well, you're in the minority with that. I think most people that see it like it, but there's a lot of movies that I think are terrible that everybody likes. Yeah, that's a good call. Kill Bill when Kill Bill 2, when she's buried alive in the theater, is really really strong. T2, amazing in theaters. Oh my God. I saw that opening weekend, the Saturday. Me and my friend went to see it, and we had to sneak into it because it was rated R, and then we saw it twice in the same day. Like, we snuck into T2. I mean, we bought a ticket for something else and stuck into T2, and then I think we saw Robin Hood or something, whatever, and then we snuck back. We were going to leave the theater, but then we saw that the screen that we saw Terminator 2 on was just starting, like, there were people going in, and we were like, yeah, let's see it again. So it's one of the, I think I've seen 2 movies 2 times opening day or like opening weekend, and that's one of them. And we loved it just as much the second time. It was great experience to see that in the theater. First Jurassic Park too. Jurassic Park. I'm not as high on Jurassic Park, but that's a great. That was a great experience for a number of reasons. Like I think it's the first DTS, like digital soundtrack, surround sound movie. So the sound was incredible. If you saw it on a really big screen, and then the marketing of that movie was really smart when it first came out, because you didn't really see what the dinosaurs looked like, and then when you see it on, a giant screen, it's pretty amazing. The first Revenge of the Nerds is a 10 5-star. I agree. Not huge on the sequel, even though it has its moments. And then they have those made-for-TV Revenge of the Nerds movies, which is so embarrassing. I think there's 2 of them, and it's just the first one's not terrible. First Revenge of the Nerds sequel has Morton Downey Jr. in it, but yeah. Oh, you have your birthday is Curtis Armstrong's birthday. Read his book, Curtis Armstrong's book. I think it's called Revenge of the Nerd. Is a good read. Just for the Revenge of the Nerds stuff. Oh, really? Revenge of the Nerds hasn't aged well? I haven't seen it in over a decade, but the last time I saw it, I enjoyed it for what it is. But there is that cringy rape scene in it that doesn't play well now. Yeah, Jordan Hoff saw Jurassic Park opening weekend. So you're like 4 and you remember. Yeah, I mean, I was a teenager when I saw that movie, and boy, and again, I have a lot of problems with Jurassic Park. I don't think, as much as I like Sam Neill, I don't think he was a great leading guy. I think Harrison Ford would have been much better in Jurassic Park. I think he might have been the original choice. I don't know if that's true or not. I just think he would have been perfect in it, and also I don't love Laura Dern in it. I think if you recast those 2 people, keep Jeff Goldblum, keep everybody else, just replace the 2 main leads, maybe give it a rewrite, have a little better character development, and it could have been a much better movie. It's still very good as it is, but it's a big theater movie. It's not a watch-at-home movie. It's... But it's, seeing it in the theater, I only analyzed the flaws years after. Seeing it in the theater, I was blown away. Yeah, I'll watch Animal House at some point, but I don't think I'm going to love it, because I think you have to grow up with that movie. But I will watch it. I haven't, like I said, I don't even have anything set up. I don't have a TV at this point. Like I have the shitty TV I got off like Amazon Prime a couple of years ago, but I don't have anything hooked up. Because that was the deal with Caddyshack. I saw Caddyshack only like a few years ago for the first time, and I was like, I don't get it. There's parts of it that's funny, but I didn't love it. It's funny watching it. Like, I don't normally see the Perrybot stuff, and it's funny reading the Perrybot. Like, it's just Perrybot tries so hard. Like, want to make an offer for a stunt? Subscribers can DM any moderator with an explanation and donation offer. We'll pass the info on to Tom immediately. It's funny, I don't normally see that because I switched over to Twitch chat. The Perrybot's still trying. That's cool. Ted Knight's the best part about Caddyshack, and Rodney, and all the... I don't care about any of the young... I feel like there's 2 different movies with Caddyshack, and they couldn't figure out what gets more screen time. There's the younger people who gives a shit, and then there's, Chevy Chase, Ted Knight, and Rodney, and all that. That's what I would rather see. I don't think Perry's ever seen Hereditary, and I don't know if he would be scared by it. What was the movie the guy did? I forget the name of it. Shit. The same guy that did that other movie that came out like 2 years ago. Midsummer? Was that what it was called? I saw that in the theater, and I didn't like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'd give it another chance, but I didn't love that movie. And I saw it with a pretty crowded theater, but I was like, it didn't do anything. because they had a guy and they had no cast in there. Like, I don't know. And I'm not even big on like getting big star names. Yeah, it had some memorable scenes, but didn't hold together as a movie. I agree. We have to watch Barry Lyndon. I've never seen Barry Lyndon. Yeah, I hate pronouncing Midsommar. It sounds weird. Yeah, I agree with Falling Down does have a lot of great scenes. All the scenes where like Michael Douglas is walking into the fast food place or the crazy gun shop owner or this or that or like, but the overall story is weak and it's like wow. I hope Redwater will be back soon. It seems like Mike's health has gotten much worse. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. I feel really bad. Like he's apparently in like just constant pain, can't sleep and all that. I mean, that sucks. I mean, it sucks. It sucks if you listen to or watch. I listen to it, but if you like, if you're a fan of the shows, I mean, it sucks. Like not because there's a lot of things that are going on that you'd love to see covered, but obviously his health comes first, and I don't know. I hope he pulls through. I don't know. I don't know any details about it. I know as much as anybody else does, just by looking at his posts. So I hope he's feeling better. Good night, Dank. Thanks as always for your participation. Have a good night. I'm not going to stay much longer because I got to drive. I got to pack up and drive. Because I can't drive back and like take nothing from this. I still have like shit in this place and I got to be completely out on Wednesday. The overall story is of a divorced dad who just wants to see his daughter. But yeah, you know what not ruins, because I like the movie. What brings down Falling Down, unfortunately, is the Robert Duvall character, who I normally love. Robert Duvall adds weight to any movie. But the whole thing of the detective who it's his last day on the job and he gets this major case following this crazy guy is a little hokey and cliched, and I thought the movie would be better than that. And his relationship with his wife is like, I don't care about that. And I like anytime it's Robert Duvall in the police station or Robert Duvall talking to his wife, that's when I check out of the movie. It's weird that such a strong actor is the weakest link. His character is the weakest link in the movie, but it is, unfortunately. That's what kind of takes down that movie. At least the last time I saw it. Colors is a great Robert Duvall, and again, like one of the reasons why Godfather 3 is so bad. It's not bad. It's just it's not nearly as good as it should be, is Duvall's not in it. You put Robert Duvall in Godfather 3, it's a different movie. It's a very different movie. And it's not, I don't think it's as derided as it is. Yeah, he was always a good guest on Stern, Duvall. That's a good call, Paul. Yeah, No Country for Old Men was very strong in theaters, and I think I saw it opening. I might have started like the opening Sunday, like that Sunday night. I think me and my friend went, and again, and one of those movies I didn't know much about either. Like I didn't see a trailer for it. I didn't go into it really knowing anything. I think except that it was a Coen Brothers movie, and it had Tommy Lee Jones in it, and there was a lot of tense scenes, like the scene where the guy, I forget the guy's name, Javier Bardem. Is that how you say his name? Where he's in that gas station. Yeah. Good night, hero. Yeah, I'm wiped too. I'm not staying much longer. That's a crazy tense scene, and even the scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Brad Pitt goes up to the house on Spawn Ranch. That's a crazy tense scene. And when you're seeing it with a crowd and you don't know what's going to happen to him, that's the theater experience that you can't get at home. And that's, again, if you didn't see it in the theater, you just didn't see it. But good night, hero. Good night, everybody. I'm going to start wrapping up here. I got to close a couple of things down first. I'm gonna have to come early on Sunday just to do a pre-show check on some of these things here. You know, I never saw Mystic River. I don't think I've seen all the Coen Brothers movies in the theater. I saw Fargo in the theater. Yes, I loved Chinatown. I also, and maybe this is controversial, I also actually like The Two Jakes, the Chinatown sequel, you know, which is a troubled production, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's not Chinatown, but it's very interesting. And there was supposed to be a third movie, and there was a screenplay written, but obviously it never got produced. And I would have really liked to have seen that. But yeah, the Two Jakes, it's better than you expect it to be because nobody ever talks about it. And it doesn't come up in conversation when you talk about Chinatown. Like, oh, you got to see Chinatown in the third, the Two Jakes. But if you like Chinatown and you like if you like Nicholson, it's a good movie. I mean, and especially if it covers a lot of bases. And I guess there's some sequels like that, where sequels to classic movies that don't get a lot of play. See, that's a movie. Uncut Gems is a movie I would have liked to have seen in theaters, and I didn't. I saw it at home, and then when I saw it at home, I wished I had seen it in the theater. And there's those movies too, where you miss the boat in the theater because there used to be a time where movies would play forever in the theater. Like you had all the time in the world. Like when I was a kid, whatever. I mean, like speaking of Terminator 2, I remember seeing Terminator 2 in October. And the movie opened like in July, and it was still playing in October. And you could see it over and over again. And now you have what do you have? Like some movies you have 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then the movie's gone. Unless it's a massive hit, then maybe you could squeeze 6, 7 weeks out of it. But that's about it. I really love Quiz Show. I love everything about Quiz Show. I love Quiz Show. I love the look of it. I think it's Robert Redford's best directed film. Really well done. Great film. Tonight you wanted to bitch slap him. Yeah, I get it. You got to give him credit though. He pulled it through where he needed to. But I understand why you say that. Yeah, I never saw Lady Killers. I never saw that Oh Brother, Where Art Thou either. But again, like when it comes to there's certain scenes in certain movie where it makes the whole. There's even movies that are just good to watch in the theater, and you just can't recapture that experience. And when you watch it at home, it's not the same, and you don't have that same. You know, you're trying to get that same hit that you had the first time, and it doesn't work. But if a director and a film can make a real tense, suspenseful scene where you're in a crowded room and you could hear a pin drop. You know, I mean, you're in a packed theater and nobody's talking, nobody's doing anything. They're all just engaged to the film. That's what it's all about. But they're few and far between. Like, you don't get it all the time. The sad thing is, a lot of movies can be watched at home without missing a beat. I never saw Natural Born Killers, and it never appealed to me on any level. Anything I ever saw about it, I just never think. Mandy says, Tom, hear me out. To remove the tattoo, you got to play into that there's a stipulation to an Adult Swim, Windy City Heat 2, where he has to get it removed for it to happen. Now, see, I feel that's cheating. Because I'll pull that with the Adult Swim. And by the way, half of it's true. Like, they do watch the streams. And I do text the guy sometimes and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Whatever. But they still love him and they love the thing. But the tattoo, again, I feel like that he has to just agree to it. I don't want to invent some kind of thing to make him do it. But see, wow, Natural Born Killer is your favorite Oliver Stone. I don't like, what's her name, Juliette Lewis. She's really annoying to me. And to see her as the main lead in any movie is hard to stomach. But again, it's one of those movies. I have a long list of like movies that I should see, and that's one of them. I will see it eventually, but whatever. Oliver Stone's very hit and miss with me. Yeah, I kind of get you, but like the glorifying shitty people, like that. At least Wolf of Wall Street is entertaining, and it's a good movie. But it's late Scorsese. It's not as good as vintage era Scorsese. See, I didn't like her in Cape Fear. I think she's the worst part about Cape Fear to me. What do I really think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Forrest Gump? Both overrated. But Roger Rabbit more overrated than Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's a good movie. It's just so played to death. I saw that, I think, opening weekend, and I really enjoyed it. And then it blew up, and it's just, it's like when you listen to an artist that goes mainstream, and you're like, I don't really like it anymore because now everyone's talking about it. We need a professional snowboarder to show up during the next TomB week to shame Perry into removing the tattoo. Yeah, name a professional snowboarder. Yeah, I like True Romance quite a bit. True Romance is good. Would have preferred it to be a better director, but the screenplay is fantastic. Yeah, that's another thing that turned me off to Natural Born Killers. Michael says that the disturbing part about Natural Born Killers was seeing Rodney Dangerfield portrayed as a child rapist. I don't get that. Yeah, I'm not into that. That's hard. That's hard to swallow. I saw Escape from L.A. in the theater, and I hated it. Oh, Escape from LA is so cringe. It's got some of the worst CGI ever. In fact, I'm not into like redoing movies. Like, it's like whenever they change like old movies, like, and update the effects, I always kind of like wince. Like when they change Star Wars and put all the shitty CGI in it, I just feel like it's digital graffiti. Like you're literally spray painting the Mona Lisa. But I don't feel that way about bad CGI in the 90s, and I would fund a project to just redo all CGI from the 90s because it looks like such crap. I mean, you can go through a list of bad 90s CGI, even into the early 2000s. It just sticks up like a sore thumb. No, I never saw Looney Tunes back in action, but Perry did, and he apparently loved it. He did a random movie review of Apocalypse Now. I keep meaning to put that on Patreon. I gotta do that. Independence Day is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as like Air Force One has some really bad CGI. any kind of low budget B level movie in the 90s looks like crap because again, digital technology was so new, it just doesn't stand the test of time. Even Star Wars, look at the Star Wars special editions. That shit is now over 20 years old, and they were updating shit from 20 years prior in 77, giving it a new makeover. The CGI in Star Wars looks worse than the original practical effects, because if you do a good transfer of the original Star Wars, the practical effects look better than any CGI garbage they added to it, because it just sticks out, because you could tell CGI. And back then, Stargate's a good call. Audiences were wowed by it then. You know, we're too weary now. When you see a 90s movie with bad CGI now, especially on like a modern TV, it's ungodly. Do I agree that Space Jam is an overrated piece of shit? I guess, but I've never seen it. Again, it's a movie I've never had any interest in seeing. You never liked any Star Wars, any of them. Plus, in the late 80s, 90s, it was the most uncool thing possible. I always liked even when Star Wars fell out of favor, like in the night, like I was still into it. So, but I get it though. It's fine. Yeah, I don't have a problem with CGI. Bad CGI I have a problem with, and I also have a problem when people overuse it. And I think the best directors, like a Christopher Nolan, for example, uses it to minimum effect. CGI should be, like, look at Terminator 2. It's like the first real CGI where it's used extensively, but it's done at the parts where you need CGI, where you can't do a practical effect of the T-1000. It's impossible. But everything else is practical. The sets are practical, and you know, the stunts are practical. My problem is, like, a lot of low budget movies in like the 90s, they just do overkill with the CGI. They should re-edit the original Star Wars and make Luke a black trans woman. That might happen in our lifetime. Oh, that's a great call, Paul. Yeah. Stephen King's The Langoliers, which I think is a 1994 or 3 made-for-TV movie, might be the worst, probably is the worst special effects in movie history. And I agree, it does have a great story. But yeah, Matt, they need to it's just, that's an embarrassment. It's absolute, and it was bad at the time. Can you imagine watching? I think I saw it on cable or something like that, like maybe 10 years ago, and I hadn't thought about it in a while, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how bad this looks. So bad. Yeah, Mummy 2 is pretty bad. You have to run a summer movie camp for middle schoolers next week. Any recommendation to impress them? Well, I think summer, you got to go, your first pick. First, I would go with Raiders of the Lost Ark because it's the 40th anniversary. It's a great summer movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. It's a great, entertaining movie. You also stick with Spielberg, go with Jaws. I think Jaws is a great summer movie. Go with the classics. You know, Back to the Future, maybe. You probably don't want to go anything rated R, but I don't know how old you want to go. Friday the 13th. That's good. Summer School with Mark Harmon's a good movie. I saw that in the theater. That was not that was a movie you could easily see at home. I'm trying to think of middle schoolers what they would see. I would stick with classics, you know, classic entertaining movies that they probably say. Yeah, I did read Jaws. The movie's better. Jaws 2 is actually another sequel that's better than its reputation, although not great. The problem with Jaws 2 is, like, they kind of turned it into like a slasher movie, except it's a shark, because the story kind of shifts to the teenagers. and it's like, it's got a very slasher-ish vibe. But there's one scene in Jaws 2 that is as good as almost anything in Jaws 1. There's only one scene in the whole movie that, like, I wouldn't say as good, but it made me think of, like, a Spielberg-esque scene. And it's when Roy Scheider's walking on the beach, and he goes into the water, and there's a person bobbing around, and, like, their torso is completely severed. And it's a jump scare, but it's a very effective jump scare. That's the one thing in that entire movie that's like, oh, that could play in Jaws very easily. But the rest of it's kind of like, very paychecky. No, Jaws 4, The Revenge, is when Brody's wife is the protagonist. Jaws 3 is SeaWorld in Florida, and with Dennis Quaid playing, like, Roy Scheider's oldest son. I love Problem Child. Like, I'll tell you what Problem Child has. Problem Child has one of the best trailers for a comedy I ever saw, because Problem Child, speaking of Terminator 2, every time I saw Terminator 2 in the theater that summer, the Problem Child trailer played before it, and it got a laugh in the theater every time. It got a huge laugh. It was I'll say this for Problem Child is, the trailer was perfect, and it did the Bad to the Bone like music over the trailer, which is so overused whenever there's, like, a bad kid or, like, a bad person, because it's even in Terminator. It's actually in Terminator 2, like, when you're doing a segment of, like, somebody who's badass, whatever. But for some reason, that trailer is fucking great. There's a couple of really good trailers for comedies. But it was one of those things where all the laughs are in the trailer. But I remember seeing the trailer. I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm going to see this movie when it comes out. Dumb and Dumber, the first Dumb and Dumber, is very funny. It's my favorite Jim Carrey movie, and I don't like Jim Carrey. I would like to see Jaws 3 in 3D. I remember when it came out, it was like Jaws 3, all the 3s, like all the 3 horror movies. Like there was Amityville 3D, Jaws 3D, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. I did not like Solo, but I liked aspects of Solo. I thought there was a good movie in Solo if you took Han Solo out of it. Because I like the whole... I'll tell you who's really good in Solo is Woody Harrelson. Like, if the movie's just about Woody Harrelson and his, like, gang, and it's like a heist movie set in the Star Wars universe, it would have been very good. But it's just, they went a little too far with it. And the guy who played Han Solo was just... didn't do it for me. I just was never convinced that I was watching Han Solo. So, not terrible, but not good. You were nicknamed Jaws because you bit people a lot in preschool. Yeah, I agree. I hate Jim Carrey, but Dumb and Dumb, you got even like actors. There's actors I can't stand, and he's definitely one of them. But you got to give them credit where it's due when they do a good movie. And Dumb and Dumber is funny. Dumb and Dumber is funny now. It's funny beginning to end. It's got a ton of funny scenes in it. And it's great. It's a shame that sequel is as fucking god awful as it is. Mary Van Peebles' Solo was better. Yeah, that was. I agree with that actually. I don't like Ace Ventura. I don't like Ace Ventura 2. I never liked I don't like that version of Jim Carrey. I just think he's so irritating. Yeah, the annoying sound is funny. Everything about that movie is funny. There's so many, and again, I'm really tough. I'm a tough critic on comedy movies. But Dumb and Dumber, it's. I mean, if I had to do a list of top 10 comedies, I'd put it in the top 10. Oh wow, Paul auditioned for the sequel as one of the Canadian guys who were friends with the daughter in Dumb and Dumber 2. That's interesting. I'll tell you, I don't even remember it. I like aspects of the Cable Guy. I don't like the movie as a whole. I like the concept, and there's certain scenes that I like, but as a whole, that's another movie I saw in the theater. I didn't like it. I've liked it over here. No, I've never seen The Cat in the Hat starring Mike Myers, but I almost want to see it because of just how bad that movie is supposed to be. And also, I think Mike Myers, I think he did that movie at gunpoint. Like, I think he had to do that movie contractually. And he's notoriously difficult to work with. There's a whole YouTube video I think I saw on Mike Myers and his later things like post Love Guru and or up until Love, because I think Cat in the Hat was pre Love Guru. Anyway, it was I've never seen it, but it might be one of those movies that you see just to see how bad it is. You know, Michael, I didn't see Jim and Andy, but I've seen enough snippets of it, and I don't know. Okay, so since you hate Jim Carrey, can you sit through Jim and Andy and not rage? Because I can't. And also one of the reasons I really hate Jim Carrey is because of Man on the Moon. I think he's terribly cast. It's a terrible casting decision to put him in that movie. And I think he does a terrible Andy Kaufman impression. Really terrible. He does that stupid voice, doesn't sound anything like Andy Kaufman. And the fact that he was super method for it, like you hear about him on the set, he was such an asshole. It ruined that movie for me. Like, I couldn't get in, he's the worst part of it. Because the thing that he doesn't capture in that movie, and this is what makes Jim Carrey like not that great of an actor, is there's a lot of humanity to Andy Kaufman. If you listen to people who knew him talk about Andy Kaufman, there's a lot of humanity to Andy Kaufman, and Jim Carrey captured none of that. None of it. He was just asshole Andy Kaufman, performer Andy Kaufman, and crazy Andy Kaufman, but he didn't capture human Andy Kaufman, which is the most interesting part, and I think it's just a super missed opportunity and a awful casting decision. So you could sit through it, and I should watch it because it confirms everything he's just... Yeah, I should watch it. The Netflix documentary about basically what an asshole Jim Carrey was on set. I think that movie ruined him too. He was never the same after that movie. There's certain movies that you can look at where they ruin an actor that did it. The actor throws so much of themselves into the movie and they're never the same. I mean, look at Heath Ledger, Dark Knight Returns, and you can make a whole list of like actors that are just ruined by one particular role. And I definitely think Jim Carrey, not that I loved him up to that point, but he's useless after, like, that came out, 1999? Give me one movie. Maybe Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is okay, because it's a little different. I might give him that asterisk on his resume. But other than that, no. Wow, you played hoops in the Hoosiers gym where they filmed it. That's great. Yeah, that was a cool little it wasn't a Hackman clip. It was the director of Hoosiers talking about how much Gene Hackman hated filming Hoosiers and how unhappy he was and how he thought it was going to ruin his career. And of course, it turns out to be one of the best sports movies ever made. Yeah, it was on the Rich Eisen show. If you search Rich Eisen Hoosiers, you'll find the clip. It's funny. The Rich Eisen show comes up a lot in my search, not my search, but my YouTube algorithm, and they're all good clips. He's a good, he's a sports guy, but he's a good movie fan, and he gets some good guests on, and he asks some really good questions that you don't get in other interviews. So. Yeah, I read Zamuta's book, and I agree. He did have a lot of cool Kaufman stories. Like, there's just that's the thing about Kaufman, is he's so interesting and he's so fascinating, and it's such a tragic thing that he passed away
God, because I always think like what we're in an alternate universe. If he didn't pass away, what would like 1995 Kaufman look like? What would have he had under his belt? What would he, he'd have a YouTube channel. What would Andy Kaufman's YouTube channel look like? What would Andy Kaufman do with the internet when the internet came to be? Like, what would his movies, like, what would he be doing? Like, how would he handle this modern era of Hollywood? I always kind of think in alternate universe terms of like, what if this show never got canceled at the time, and what would season 5 look like of Star Trek the original series? You know what I mean? So, Eisen is a good for. Yeah, I saw it, and I remember Rich Eisen, like just calling into WFAN late at night here, like in the '90s. So I knew his name early on, and then he went to the NFL Network, and I'm not a football guy, so I kind of lost track of him. But any clip I've seen of the Rich Eisen show where he has a guest on is always great, and it makes me want to seek out like the full interview because he really dissects certain things in certain movies. Like he talks a lot about Nicholson stuff, like especially in A Few Good Men, which is not a movie most people think about. It's fairly forgettable, but like he's had just about everybody on, aside from Tom Cruise, I think, and they talk about Nicholson in that movie, and there's some really interesting stories. Andy Kaufman would be reading boring books on YouTube and cooking. It. Hold on. This thing just popped up on my screen. You're reading failed weekend sports anchor. Oh, you were a failed TV weekend sports anchor in Redding, California, and took Eisen's job there. He went right to ESPN. You got to give him credit. Yes, I've walked out of several movies. I walked out of Tommy Boy, if you can believe that. I know people worship Tommy Boy, but I walked out of it. Yes, I saw a Carnegie Hall special, Andy Kaufman. Batman Forever is a good movie to walk out on. What else did I walk out on? I don't know what's the last movie I walked out on. I haven't walked out of a movie in a long time. I'm trying to think. The last movie I walked out on. Like where you just say, I've had enough, and you just walk out. Might have been a comment. I don't remember. There's a couple I walked out on, though. Oh, I walked out on Lost in Space, the remake, the only Lost in Space movie, with the one with Matt LeBlanc from Friends, and I forget who else is in that. Mimi Rogers. I walked out on that, and I walked out on... I think all the movies I walked out on were in the 90s. Because 90s is kind of a shitty decade for movies. Mixed Nuts. Well, I've never seen. Oh, I saw. God, what was the movie with? It was with. God, I can't remember. It was with Greg Kinnear. It was post As Good as It Gets, I think. Greg Kinnear and Laurie Metcalf, and they worked in a mailroom or something, and it was directed by the guy who did all those TV. Oh, Marshall. What's his first name? He just passed away like a year or two ago. I can't think of the name of it. I gotta look it up. Fuck. The fuck is that movie? I can't even remember the name of it. I think it came out in 1996, so that sounds about right. Oh, Dear God, 1996. That was the movie. Dear God. Directed by Gary Marshall with Greg Kinnear, Laurie Metcalf, and Tim Conway. when letters written to God start getting results. Okay, so I guess he works in a mailroom and he answers letters that people write to God, and it was all. I don't even remember it. I just remember walking out. You walked out on Shallow. I've never seen Shallow Hal beginning to end. I've seen parts of it though. You wanted to walk out of Necessary Roughness. I actually really like Necessary Roughness. Ooh, Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp. I don't think I ever saw it because there's a point where Tim Burton just falls off the rails. I forget his last name. He's got a couple of great ones. I mean, to me, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is his best movie. His first movie is his best movie. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of the funniest movies, to me, one of the funniest movies ever. Ed Wood is also fantastic, and I'm hard-pressed to think of, outside of Batman, I'm hard-pressed to think of movies of his that I value on any level. I was trying to think of, I lost track of some of the later Tim Burton movies. Oh, Beetlejuice is good. Yeah, I'll include Beetlejuice. Yeah, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, and Ed Wood. I don't like Edward Scissorhands, and I can't say I like anything else he did. Yeah, don't see Lost in Space, the movie. It's fucking terrible. Watch the original show though, because it's as campy as it is. It's kind of fun. The original Lost in Space is good. Only for the guy Jonathan Harris, who played Dr. Smith, literally steals the show to the point where they basically started writing episodes around him. I think he was the only guy to Jonathan Harris, who played Dr. Smith on Lost in Space. It was like a 1960s sci-fi show with a very low budget. But he was so good that he was allowed to write his own dialogue, which never happens. Never happens. And he was and he's a guy that grew up in the Bronx. This Jewish guy grew up in the Bronx, and he just all of a sudden developed this affected English accent, this high upper crust theatrical accent that no one ever questioned. Yeah, Dr. Smith always tried to kidnap the kids, and they would just shrug it off. He got less and less evil as the show went on, and then he became more silly and cowardly, and he would always eat all their food and stuff. But it was it's fun. If you ever get a minute, I think it's on Hulu. Watch a random Lost in Space, and you'll be entertained. But don't take it too seriously, because it's low budget 60s television. Wow, you walked out of the Pierce Brosnan Bond movie. Which one? Because there's 4 of them. I could see walking out of Die Another Day. That's one of the worst Bond movies ever. But GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, World's Not Enough are pretty decent. They're not top tier Bonds, but they're good. Wes Anderson's very, very hit and miss. I think Royal Tenenbaums is awful. I think Rushmore's good. And I think Grand Budapest Hotel is his best movie by far. One of my favorite movies of recent years, actually. The past decade, I would say. That's great. So he's very hit and miss. Life Aquatic's good. But Royal Tenenbaums is him at his worst, self-indulgent. I don't like it, and I love the cast. I love Gene Hackman, Bill Murray. Bottle Rocket's great, but he's hitting a. What would I rather see again? Die Another Day or Quantum of Solace? That's rough. Probably Die Another Day, because Die Another Day, at least half of it is okay up until he goes to Iceland or wherever, that ice hotel. It's kind of okay, but Quantum of Solace is bad all the way through. But yeah, if you've never seen Grand Budapest Hotel, it's great. It's kitschy. It's very Wes Anderson in all the good ways. When Wes Anderson is very Wes Anderson-y, and all the good elements are there, it's a very entertaining movie. But when he's just I don't know. I watched Royal Tenenbaums again fairly recently, within the past year and a half, at the behest of a friend who said they remember loving it, and I was like, I kind of remember hating it, but I'll give it another chance. And it was horrible. And not only it was horrible for me, my friend agreed that it was also horrible and regretted suggesting it. But Grand Budapest Hotel is the better movie. Much better movie. And there's probably a couple movies he did that I didn't see, because I don't think I've seen every movie. But Rushmore's good, and I forget the order of them. Life Aquatic is good. I think Tenenbaums is the only one I actively hate. Paul Marcy says, View to a Kill, I loved. I still think the scene when Bond drove his car into a man and was underwater and breathed through the air and the tires. I remember how genius I was. Yeah, it's funny you say that. I saw View to a Kill in the theater. My dad took me, and I love View to a Kill too. I love the song. I love the opening. As Perry says, it created snowboarding, which brings it all back together. But yeah, I remember that scene too, when he was Christopher Walken, Sauron, has killed Bond's assistant, Tippett, I think, played by Patrick Macnee, who was in the original Avengers with I can't think of her name, Diana Rigg, and he's knocked out in the car, I think, and they push the car into that pond, and the car sinks, and they just stay to make sure he's dead. And yeah, he goes to the tires underwater and lets the air out. And I don't think that's practical. I always wondered, even when I was a kid, even now as I'm thinking about it, when would you ever have a chance to test that? I always wondered if that would work. Like, you're underwater, you're running out of air, you can't come up, but there's a car tire under there, attached to a car, it's full of air. And if you use your finger to let the air out, could you breathe that air and be okay for a little bit? But I thought, it was great writing. I thought that was good. A View to a Kill gets kind of shit on, but I like it. I like Christopher Walken in that movie. And I think I've said before, his plan is definitely a ripoff of Goldfinger. It's Goldfinger's plan just for the 80s. But it's good. Who is the best Bond villain? It's a tough call. There's a lot to choose from. I like most people would say Goldfinger because he's entertaining. I don't say Goldfinger. I really like Mads Mikkelsen in Casino Royale. The guy Stromberg in Spy Who Loved Me is great because he's not. I always like the villains that have practical reasons for being crazy, and they're not just looking for money. And Stromberg just wanted to end the world, which made him kind of a loose cannon. I also like. I tell you who I like. What's his name? I gotta look it up real quick. The guy in Tomorrow Never Dies, who is the publisher. What's the fucking guy's name? I gotta cheat and look it up. Jonathan Pryce. He's over the top in that movie, but I like that. He's my favorite part of that movie. Tomorrow Never Dies is not a great movie, but he's very entertaining to watch. He's a good Bond villain. I'm trying to think. I don't like any of the Blofelds really. Yeah, we'll get a Tom Cam when after I complete the move and get my office set up. I definitely am getting that. Like I said, I think I spoke earlier. I got to spend some money on some production stuff, which is hard to come by now because I'm just bleeding cash. But yeah, but Jonathan Pryce is good in anything. He's really hammy. He's really hammy as that character in Tomorrow Never Dies, but it works. For some reason, it works. He overacts at parts, and he really gets into it. And he's actually better, to me, he's better than Bond in that movie, which is crazy. But I like him. I'll tell you who I really like is Robert Davi in License to Kill, who plays the drug dealer Sanchez, because that's just a straight up revenge story, and he's not like the typical Bond villain that's looking to take over the world or looking to do this. He's just a guy who gets in Bond's way. So he's really good. trying to think. Christopher Walken's very good in A View to a Kill. I love. There's a lot of them that Christopher Lee is really good, even though that's a terrible movie. But I have a strong preference for the Roger Moore films, so I kind of always defer to their villains. Like even Louis Jourdan in Octopussy he's a great villain. He's fun to watch in basically anything he's in. And I have a soft spot for Moonraker. And I think Michael Lonsdale, I think is his name, the guy who's the bad guy in Moonraker. What's going on with Perry's ring cam and the portable one that he used? So a couple of things. Number one, the ring cam is tough because, again, it's system resources, I think. The Windows one was crapping out, and then I got it on Android, but the BlueStacks that I use to run the ring cam takes so much system resources that it affects the stream. It affects the Streamlabs software. So I'm still looking for a solution. I might actually just get a completely different cam set up and try to figure that out. So that's what's going on with that. The portable one, similar issue where it robs bandwidth. It takes his internet and makes his camera laggy whenever he uses the portable. It's just finding out a way to figure that out. I might have to up his internet plan, even though he's got the highest one right now. I mean, I don't know what else I can do. For Your Eyes Only was your first Bond. That's a great... For Your Eyes Only is arguably Moore's best because it's so gritty. Oh, Windows 11 is allegedly going to have Android app support. That would be fucking great. When does Windows 11 come out? Because I want to do a clean install of that. Oddjob isn't I wouldn't call a bad guy. He's a henchman. All right, Jared Hoff. Thanks as always. You're one of the good demons too. And thanks for being part of this community. Good night. Yeah, you can do a separate thing of the best henchman Bond, but he's not a main bad guy. That's the thing I don't think Connery has in any, the Connery Bond movies. There's not too many, aside from Goldfinger, who gets all the play. I don't think any of the other villains were that memorable in his movies. Yeah, Teddy Savalas played Blofeld in On Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. So when does Windows 11 actually come out? Is it being released soon? Yeah, I liked when Jaws kind of became somewhat quote unquote good at the end, and I would have liked to have seen him turn up in one more movie, even in just a cameo or something like that, because he's a good character. Do I have a feeling the character of Nick Nack came up a little short? That's good. Oh, the new Bosch is out? That came out just now. I still haven't watched last year's Bosch. I still got to watch last year's Bosch. I got to watch last year's Better Call Saul and last year's Bosch. I've seen pretty much everything Norm Macdonald. I didn't even know he had a Robert Shaw impression from The Sting. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Sting, Sting's another classic movie. Great movie, The Sting. Not The Sting 2. Don't see The Sting 2. That's a weird timing. Did it just come out now? It's like 5 a.m. on the East Coast. That's a weird time. Yeah, Robert Shaw was one of those guys that just aged terribly. Like Art Carney's another guy. Like Art Carney, when he was in his 40s, looked like he was like 70, like just hard living. That's the guy. Robert Shaw's the guy. Like hard living, like heavy drinker, heavy everything. There's a great clip on YouTube somewhere, fairly recently, because Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw like had a similar relationship off screen as they do on screen, where I think Robert Shaw kind of chided him a lot, and I think in interviews Dreyfuss had always talked like like we didn't get along and stuff, but anyway, so Richard Dreyfuss was on some talk show in Ireland, like some Irish talk show. I don't know, semi recently, not maybe within the past 5 years, and Robert Shaw's granddaughter was in the audience, and like the host of the show like pointed her out, like, and Richard Dreyfuss actually breaks down crying on the show, and then just talks about how great her grandfather was, and how much he learned from him and stuff. It's a really sweet clip to see. It's very interesting. Requiem for a Dream is one of those movies where you watch it once, you don't revisit it. I watched it once. I think when I didn't see it in the theater, I saw it like when it came out on like DVD or something. Traumatized by it, but from many scenes, and liked it for what it was, but would never rewatch it. Yeah, that's another good one. Wilford Brimley's another guy. You watch Cocoon with William Blimley, you thought he was like 70. Yeah, he was like 49. Wilford Brimley played old for like 30 years, from like the 80s through like when he passed away. Yeah, there's certain movies that I like, but they're one-time views. Like Schindler's List, I'm not watching that again. Like it's a one-time view. I'm out. Like I'm not watching. Like there's some movies that are just so brutal that they're like, yeah, you watch it once and you're done. Yeah, Richard Mulligan and Donald Sutherland are two other. Yeah, you can make a whole list of actors that just look terrible for their age. What Dreams May Come, I remember that coming out and it just looking like a piece of shit. I've never seen it. That looked like it just looked a little over the top. Yeah, you thought Wilford Brimley died way before he actually died. I know, there's some actors like that. Like, wow, he's still alive. No, I don't remember Scavenger Hunt. Was that a made-for-TV movie? English movies like Trainspotting. I loved Trainspotting when it came out. I saw Trainspotting in the theater. I actually really liked Trainspotting 2, which I don't think did very well, and I don't think a lot of people saw, but I maybe it resonated with me because I'm older now and I'm in my 40s, and the movie's more about, like, I don't know, getting older and coming to terms with your youth and maybe time that you might have wasted or whatever. I really liked Trainspotting too. There's a lot of British movies I like. A lot of British movies I don't like. I don't like British production, like the look of it, mainly for TV. But a lot of British movie, a lot of solid British films. You saw What Dreams May Come in the theater, sappy but a beautiful movie to see. Yeah, it always looked good. But I couldn't take the syrupy sappiness of, especially with Robin Williams. Couldn't see it. There's some Robin Williams movies I don't mind. It would take me some time to think about them though. It's just a little. There's some good ones though. There are some good ones. I like Robin Williams far more than I like Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey I actively despise. The book, the Trainspotting sequel book is very different from the movie, and I do think, oh yeah, World According to Garp is very good. I do think the movie version of Trainspotting 2 is better than the book, and because I read both. I mean, I read the book and I saw the movie. I liked the direction of the movie more than I liked the direction of the book. And the trailer, speaking of good trailers, the trailer for Trainspotting 2 is as good as any trailer gets. It's one of the best trailers I've seen in recent years. The point of Trainspotting is basically to revisit these characters and see how they've either progressed or regressed or stayed stagnant, and how, it's about the passage of time and how, I think that Trainspotting 2 works on the sense of juxtaposing it with the first Trainspotting and having, it's basically the heroin addicts in Edinburgh, Scotland, and how they don't give a fuck about anything, and then how the sequel is kind of very adult in that, it has fun, but it really shows consequences of decisions coming to reckoning, because a lot of people, you spend your 20s you don't give a shit about anything, and then sometimes you spend your 30s correcting all the damage you did in your 20s, and then some people don't get their shit together until their 40s, and then you spend a lot of your 40s correcting shit that you did in your 30s. And I think all the characters, and I really liked the first movie. I saw it multiple times, and I really liked revisiting the characters, because all of the characters were exactly where I wanted them to be 20 years later. So I know some people didn't like the sequel. I really liked it. It resonated with me quite a bit. But if you haven't seen Trainspotting, I don't know how well it plays now, because I saw it when it came out. It's a very 90s movie. I don't know how it plays to somebody who's never seen it. That's a rough first time to see it on a 12-inch TV, black and white. And I'm very good at accents. I have a lot of British friends. I have a lot of Irish friends. I have a lot of Scottish friends. So the accents were never a thing. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, not as much. It's okay though. I haven't heard about a Barton Fink sequel in a long time. There was talk about it, and then it's kind of one of those things that just kind of went away. Yeah, I like Perry's British accent. G'day, mate. He just basically does Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. That's his British accent. Do my best, Kyle Dickey. I'll probably pass on that. I just think it's such a kind of his worst hack impression is Kyle Dickey. I always cringe out when he does that, or the Dexter Coleman. Hi, it's Kyle Dickey. Because he's got that gruff voice. He's hi, it's Kyle Dickey. That kind of thing. No, I never watched Psycho 4. It was made for Showtime. But it's the only Psycho I've never seen. I would like to see it. I've heard good things about it. But what I don't like is I think it ignores the events of Psycho 2 and 3, which I don't like when horror sequels do that. You got to stick with what it is. I like his Jean-Claude. But the thing about it is you can yes, yeah, I love Quantum Leap. Was one of my favorite shows as a kid, and I think they've missed the window on probably doing another. That's a show that really deserved a good finale send off. I think the show got canceled, and they kind of had to re-edit the last episode of that season to make it the finale, which is such bullshit because that was on for a while, and I always hated that finale because it wasn't really a finale. And I would like to see them they should bring back Quantum Leap as like a limited, because they bring back so much shit shows now. Like they brought back the X-Files, and it was like, there's a period, I forget what started it. There was this whole trend of bringing back TV shows. It was like this whole, we're bringing back this show, And is Dean Stockwell still alive? Dean Stockwell's still alive, right? I mean, he's older now. They should probably... And I've gone back and seen some Quantum Leaps, like, I don't know, within recent years on Netflix, and they still play really well. It's well-made TV for most of it. And they could I would like to see a limited run, like maybe 6-episode season, and just wrap it up. And like make it like he's still leaping, like he's been leaping all this time. Oh, he's dead? Dean Stockwell's dead? I wasn't sure about that. It's hard to do Quantum Leap without Dean Stockwell. But maybe Scott Bakula stepped in shit because he's one of these guys. He's such a nice guy. He's such a cool guy that you root for him. I mean, he had Quantum Leap, and then he did movies and stuff. Is he long gone? No, he was in Battlestar Galactica. He can't be that long gone. Is he? When did he pass away? Let me look that up. And I'm usually up on that stuff. Are you sure it doesn't say that he's dead? Oh. No, he had a stroke, but he's alive. He had a stroke in 2015, but he's alive. He retired from acting, but he's still alive. But Scott Bakula, he gets on Star Trek Enterprise, which is underrated. I do like Star Trek Enterprise. I think Scott Bakula is very good on it. And then he does Men of a Certain Age, and then now he's on like he's on something else. He's on a major CBS like crime show, right? What is it? NCIS New Orleans. I mean, so he's not missing any meals, to put it mildly. I mean, who knows? Yeah, it's a shit show. All those fucking procedurals on CBS are terrible, but he's doing really well. That's a great paycheck. But I don't know, like what I would love to see. I'd love to see a Quantum Leap reboot. Not a reboot, but like they could reboot it. But I'd like to see some kind of resolution with the Scott Bakula era, because I did love that show, and it jumped around a lot. I remember seeing it like on when it was on NBC. You had to really pay attention when that show, like they moved it from like Tuesdays to Wednesdays to Fridays to Sundays. I think it started on Sundays. It was like that, and Unsolved Mysteries were always jumping around the schedule. They didn't know what to do with them. I don't think Bakula fits the Ted McGinley thing, because Ted McGinley always has that moniker that he's the show killer. When he comes on the show goes downhill, which I think is unfair. But yeah, he's on more shows than you would think. Oh, you're thinking of Guy Stockwell. Yeah, Dean Stockwell was in a Columbo. I forget who he played. I think I saw it fairly recently too. I don't remember him being the main like murderer, but he was. Yeah, I think Dean Stockwell maybe was the guy who got killed. Now that I think about it. But yeah, he was on an old Columbo. Without Googling, how old do I think Bakula is? Okay, I'm gonna guess. Let's say he's. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say 66. I'm gonna say 60. I'm gonna say 60s. I'm gonna mid 60s. Let me settle on 65. 65. I think Scott Bakula is 65. He can't be in his 50s. I'd have a hard time believing he's in his 50s, but he looks great for his age, whatever he is. What's the actual answer? Because Quantum Leap starts, I think, in 1989, so he's got to be at least 30 there. Oh, fuck, I got it, 66? Wow. I pulled that out of my ass. Good. And I only guessed at that because I figured just on when Quantum Leap came out that he had to be in his 60s, but he doesn't look 66. He doesn't look anything close to 66. He looks really good. Yeah, let's go over to Patrick's place. Yeah, we're still on. I shouldn't be on too. I got so much work to do, but whatever. I don't want to leave. I don't want to do this drive. I gotta pack up stuff and shit. I gotta come back here tomorrow. Okay, yeah, because I just did some math. I figured he had to be at like 30 when Quantum Leap started. Oh, and that's right. He was in the Liberace movie, which is very good. I forget the name of the movie. The Liberace HBO movie with Matt Damon and Michael Douglas as Liberace's great. Yeah, he's the guy. Scott Bakula is the guy that introduces Matt Damon to Liberace. He's just, I don't know. He's just one of the good guys. You know, I've never met him. But he just seems like such a cool guy. In any interview I've seen, he's always like humble and cool. He doesn't come off like an asshole. It's just a guy behind the camera, the candelabra. That's great. I saw that multiple times too. I loved that when I came out, like when that was on HBO. Dan Aykroyd's also really good in that as Liberace's like lawyer or something. But yeah, I don't know, Scott Bakula, you just always, there's certain actors that you like you don't necessarily have to watch everything they're in, but you just kind of root for them because they're good people, and you're like, oh, I like him. I'm glad he got that. Even though I'm never going to watch NCIS New Orleans, I'm never going to see it, but I'm glad that he has that movie. Who played the young kids who skated Liberace's pool in the movie? I don't know. I don't know, that might have been in the director's cut. But there was another Liberace made-for-TV movie in like the early 90s. I think it was on NBC or something like that kind of dealt with that relationship between that guy Scott and Liberace. And I forget that name of it, but I remember seeing it when it aired. I think I watched it with my mom. Does he suck in NCIS? Well, that show's been on for a long time now, so... Yeah, I'm glad Christina Applegate got to the bottom of that, because there's no, and I think he was so fried tonight. I think he was so tired, and I do feel bad sometimes when he's like, he clearly wants to check out, but I have tip comments to get to in the bank, or we have an offer to get to, and he was confused. I think he was actually convinced. I think he went through this whole scope of things where it was like he was trying to trick Christina Applegate into saying like, yeah, I answered in a penny saver, now I'm on the film set. And then he eventually forgot about the whole Alvarado Hospital thing. All right, one more trivia question. When Harry Nilsson and John Lennon were boozing at the Troubadour in 1964, the heckled comedians got kicked out. What comedians did they heckle? At the Troubadour in 64? I'm stumped. I don't know. Yeah, Bruce Campbell's another guy you root for. You just be like, oh, I'm glad he's got, and there's other actors that I just don't even like that. I mean, I don't like their acting. The Smothers Brothers. Interesting. I might heckle them too, to be honest with you. Yeah, I never got the Smothers Brothers. I forget which one was in Casino, but I liked him in Casino. Was it Tommy Smothers? I just wanted to see if he could tell it again, like after telling it. Because I actually walked out of the room when he was doing the cake thing. I had to pee, and I was like, all right, I can leave for like a minute and 30 seconds when he was doing that. And then when I came back just as he finished, but I wasn't sure if he finished right. So at that point I kind of wanted him to tell it again. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do it. But yeah, the Christina Applegate thing. And he played into it pretty well, I will say, to his credit. Your dad bought a car from one of the Smothers brothers? Also, end of the story. Tommy Smothers, my friend, when John Lennon got kicked out of... Sorry. Tommy Smothers, my friend, when Lennon got kicked out, he tussled with a valet and got punched in his glasses and broke them and fell on the ground. Tommy Smothers' wife picked up the glasses and still has them. Wow, that's interesting. Tommy Smothers told your friend. That's interesting. I love stories like that. By the way, I was so embarrassed. Like for some reason, maybe it was last week. I don't know, whatever it was. It was a while back. We were talking about Spies Like Us, and I said Frank Oz directed it. He did not direct Spies Like Us. He directed, I forget this other movie, but he's in Spies Like Us, and that's what was making me think that he directed it. And I was just ashamed that that I made that faux pas. John Landis directed Spies Like Us. Would I ever book Perry at an autograph convention at a Hollywood show? No, probably not. Because Perry's very niche. And I honestly think it's beneath him. I mean, he would do better. He would make more money doing a fourth stream, like randomly, like at pop up on a Saturday afternoon, than he would in one of those shows. It would be stupid. And I always think it's sad. I've never gone to one of those shows. I did once. I went with a friend to like some kind of thing. And they were like old wrestlers that I remember from the 80s just sitting there waiting for anybody to talk to. And I remember we got sucked into a conversation because I remember we had a friend who had a booth there. We were visiting the friend, and then we just like walked around. And Virgil, who was like Ted DiBiase's assistant, was there, and we just started talking to him, and we were just like hanging out with him, and I don't know, it was just, he had all these 8x10s, and then like we were talking about stuff, we were just like asking questions, and then he's like, so you guys want to buy an 8x10? And my friend bought one, and I was like, you sucker. And I was like, no, I don't want an 8x10. But I wasn't rude about it, but I just felt bad. It was like all these dudes, like, ugh. Like Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, was there, but it was just, I don't know, it was just, if there's nobody online, they just sit there. Like they just sit there and looking at their phone or whatever. That's where I met Dirk Benedict, actually. There was nobody coming up to Virgil. And at the time, he was talking about maybe coming back to the WWE, but they had to pay him a certain amount of money. I was like, he was like delusional. He was a nice enough guy, really nice guy, kind of, Virgil, but he was just like, they don't pay me enough, that's why I left, and if they want me back, I'm like, and at the time, it was like 2007, I was like, dude, I think you missed the boat on that. But yeah, there was, it was very much like The Wrestler, even though The Wrestler hadn't come out yet. But yeah, it was just a bummer. It was kind of a bummer seeing like a lot of people I grew up watching, like just like Honky Tonk Man was there and he was cool. I'd still dress like it. In Spies Like Us, Landis put Sam Raimi, the Coen brothers, Spielberg, and B.B. King as security guards at the drive-in movie theater bunker. I did not know that. That's interesting trivia. I'm trying to think who else was there. Like they were just like it wasn't just wrestling people. It was just like random fandom people. Random people that show up at those things. Aaron Gray was there from Buck Rogers, who still looked pretty good at the time, I will say. Dirk Benedict got his last name from Eggs Benedict. I could see that. Dirk Benedict is not in the pilot for the A-Team, but I remember I watched for some reason, I don't know what made me do it. I watched the first episode of the A-Team a few years ago, just to see how it played, and there's somebody else in the face role. It's not Dirk Benedict. He was cast later, which was crazy to me. I remember Six Pack when that came out. I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember. Yeah, I remember she was in Six Pack, and that was like right after. I think not right after, but it was after. I think it was after Buck Rogers got canceled, and while she was doing Silver Spoons. God, she was so fucking hot. Aaron Gray. Yeah, it's so sad whenever that's the thing. It's about these conventions is like, yeah, you can like meet. It's like when they're on that circuit, it's just like ooh, and there's nobody there to see you, and they're just hanging out there, and they're just like staring at you. It's like walking. If you're at those conventions and you're walking around those booths, it's like walking down the aisle at a like pet adoption place or a pet store where you have like puppies and dogs looking at you like, please adopt me. And they're like, please buy my 8x10. Please take a picture of me. Please remember me. Yeah, Diane Lane was in Six Pack. Very young Diane Lane was in Six Pack. I think it was her first role or one of them. Yeah, she was like a teenager. That's a good call, Robert. That's a deep cut. If you know Six Pack, you know your shit. And I only know Six Pack because it was on HBO like every fucking day. Like it was always on HBO. There were certain movies it was like any given afternoon you can see Kidco and Six Pack and all these like kids movies and The Toy. They were always like just a constant rotation. Yeah, Lex Luger looks downright weird now. See, Vern Troyer, I'm surprised at. Like, I would figure he'd be somewhat of a draw. That's sad to see here that nobody was around him. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, Love Will Turn You Around was also the closing song. The Kenny Rogers song. It was always, I'd always catch it. Like, yeah, Cobra was rated R though, so Cobra didn't play till after 8 p.m. But there was so many, like Police Academy movies always on HBO. Always on HBO. There was a point where HBO could have been called the Police Academy channel. They always had some Police Academy movie playing. But yeah, that would be a good name for a convention. Just call it the Isle of Forgotten Celebrities. And I mean, it would be mean-spirited, but it would be accurate. Yeah, Kidco. Remember Kidco with Scott Schwartz? The Island of Misfit Celebrities, yeah. Well, that's pretty bad. I remember when Cobra came out. It was rated R. I couldn't see it because I was too young. Cobra came out in I think it came out in spring '86. That sounds right. And it had a great poster. And the tagline is great on Cobra. It was like, "If crime is a disease, he's the cure." And it was just like Stallone looking really badass on the poster with this crazy gun with a laser sight on it. I still never saw Cobra. Oh, do you remember? Oh my God, Real Sex on HBO. That brings me. I did watch. I used to tape Real Sex. Like I'd set the VCR to tape it. Those Real Sex shows. It was like the closest thing you got to watching porn. Copland's good. Copland's good, but it's not. It should be better than it is with that cast, and it's not great. No, it's very good though. Dream On, way ahead of its time. Dream On was a great HBO show. And you could see tits in that show. You could actually see boobs on Dream On. It was crazy that, like, as a kid, you could watch a sitcom. I mean, and Dream On really was a comedy. I think it was way ahead of its time, too. It was a comedy with no laugh track, good cast, and you could see boobs on fucking, a comedy show, which is crazy. Brian Benben. What a crazy. And he's married to, what's her name? I forget, Stowe. I can't think of her first name. Madeline Stowe? Is that it? But that was a really good show. Nobody ever talks about it. Like it was like almost Curb Your Enthusiasm before Curb Your Enthusiasm in a way. The only thing I remember about Real Sex is I remember one segment of this former porn star who was now making porno movies, but from a woman's perspective. And she would cut out the money shots because she thought those were degrading. Yeah, Brian Benman's a poor man's Scott Bakula. I agree with that. That's a great call. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, that's a bad idea. I don't think this is ever going to work. But I would always, like, because now you could just fucking go on, if you're young, you can go on the internet and see any boob you want. But back then it was a bit of a struggle. And I would always look up in the guide, like the TV guide or the cable guide, whatever the guide was, where the movies said, like, I would, like, take almost a highlighter and I'd be like, oh, nudity, strong adult content. Yes, that's for me. I will be recording that. And like, language, violence, no. Language, violence, no. Rated R. Adult situations, oh, that sounds good. Brief nudity. Oh, I don't know. Brief nudity always gave me pause for concern. I'm like, well, how brief is it? We'll give it a try. Let's highlight that. And then it was like, I remember there was one description that said, consistent nudity was a description in the thing. I was like, ooh, that sounds good. Consistent nudity. Yes, highlight that, record that. And then I'd watch them back like the next day just to I'd fast forward through the entire movie. I'm like, okay, this says nudity. It's in the parentheses after rated R. Okay, it's adult content and nudity. Here it is. Oh, it's not very good. Oh, this was a waste of my time. That's too bad. Oh yeah, the Real Sex Man on the Street questions. I forgot about that. I wonder, are those on HBO Max? Can you watch those now? Yeah, anything with Emmanuel in the title too. Yeah, right. Like those basically soft porn. Like, yeah, I've done that too. Yeah, like I've watched Scrambled HBO. Yeah, and then like I didn't have Cinemax or anything like that, so because they had the real hard stuff. It was like soft stuff, but still harder than HBO. There was this thing when I first got cable, when I was a kid and we moved to Long Island, and we had they had that cable box that had the. I remember Angel Heart had Lisa Bonet nude, and 9.5 Weeks was another big movie where as a kid you thought it was basically a porno with Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. Like when I remember me and my friend rented it, we're like, oh, we're gonna see something really bad, and then it turns out it's not that bad. especially by today's standards. Like, you probably aired on network TV. But those old cable boxes where they had the cord, and it was like this big control console, and it was like these buttons, like 2 through 13, that you'd push, and then there would be different levels. And there was the right combination. If you hit 2 of them together, you can unscramble the Playboy channel. But it changed every now and again. And I, like, one friend at school would be like, yeah, if you put it on the middle selector and you hit the channel 4 and 11, you'll get Playboy. How does Eyes Wide Shut play in 2021? Because I saw Eyes Wide Shut in the theater, and I think I saw it once at home a long time ago, but I haven't seen it since. More nudity and messed up than you remember. I liked it. The only thing I don't like about Eyes Wide Shut is the New York scenes don't look like New York. Even though it's not supposed to matter and you're supposed to suspend disbelief, it looks, because they filmed the whole movie in London, but it's supposed to take place in New York City, and none of those New York City shots look like New York City. Yeah, that's a conspiracy theory that Eyes Wide Shut got Kubrick killed. I was in love with Kim Basinger before 9.5 Weeks. I stole a copy of the movie VHS from Sam Goody in 1990 and wore that movie out. I remember, because I think I kind of did this. I think I did the same thing. I think I had a stolen VHS of it as well, because it's the closest I could get to. It's funny, then it's like you watch all those movies, like rated R movies with nudity, and then when you finally actually do see a real porn, it's like jarring. It's like, oh my God, this is like, because I thought those movies were basically porn, like a 9.5 Weeks type movie. That was that's as dirty as it got. And then I remember, like, a friend of mine had said, like, oh, we're gonna, like stag movies, or like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch a porn. And I was like, okay, and I forget how old I was. But I watched it and I was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, I was disturbed. I was like, oh my God. And then you can never go back. You can't watch fucking 9.5 Weeks after that. It's like, the whole world opens up. And now I just can't imagine what it's like now. I can't imagine growing up now and just having instant access to everything you could possibly want at any age. It's gotta be really weird. Yeah, what's that girl's boob? Doc Hollywood, and that's not a rated R movie. That boob scene is surprising and very, very welcomed. I forget that actress's name, but she was great. The first time I saw boobs, I think, was in, it might have been Revenge of the Nerds, now that I think about it. I'm trying to think. Julie Warner. Yeah, that was her name. She was beautiful. Fuck. Yeah, she was in Tommy Boy, but I don't know, she had lost her luster by then. I don't know, I walked out, we both, me and my girlfriend at the time, when we were watching Tommy Boy, I don't know, there was just some point where we walked, I can't remember, watching it now, I don't even remember when I walked out, but we were just like, I think we were just cranky, because it was like a last minute decision, and I don't know, we're just like, I don't want to see this anymore, let's just go. I still don't think it's that good. I think it's overrated. Yeah. It's created a lot of men who gave up on women. It said, why put time into a woman when they only need 5 minutes on Pornhub? I know what you mean. And I think I'd look at, like again, it makes you sound so old when you talk about like catalogs. I used to look at like the Sears catalog and like just look at the bra section, and that's like how you'd see boobs. And then if you look really closely, you can maybe see some nipples showing through the bra. I'd be like, oh, this is as good as it's gonna get. That's what a boob looks like. Oh my God! Your parents took you to see Revenge of the Nerds? Oh man, that's uncomfortable. Yeah, that movie has full bush. That's a hard R. That's as hard R as they get. Oh my God, Just One of the Guys is great too. I had that taped off HBO and freeze framed that shit to death. One of the best boob shots in any movie is Just One of the Guys. I will put up against Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Phoebe Cates. Just One of the Guys is that good of a boob shot. And that was PG-13 as well. You could see that. You could see that during the day. You can come home from school and see Just One of the Guys on HBO, and I'd be watching it, and I'd seen that movie so many times. I'm like, oh, it's 20 minutes to the boob shot. I can make this work. I will plan the next 20 minutes accordingly because I know where the movie's at, and she's gonna reveal that, the boobs. So. That's what I always thought was so funny and slash creepy when that guy Dr. Skin came out with the Dr. Skin website. I don't know if it's still a thing. Maybe it is. Where all they would do is just clip all the movies where they show boobs or nudity, and they give you the time codes for because he was always that guy. I think his name is Dr. Skin or whatever. He'd go on Howard Stern, and he'd Mr. Skin. That's it, Mr. Skin. He'd go on Stern and be like, yes, at 1 hour and 8 minutes, you will see so-and-so's boobs. And he knew it off the top of his head. It was like, but he actually got a little creepy about it to the point where it was like not fun. Yeah, Poison Ivy movies are good skin flicks too. Even though I was never into Drew Barrymore. She doesn't do anything for me now, never did anything for me at any point. Star Trek. I'm trying to think of that. I'm trying to think of the ball. Are you thinking of Star Trek: The Motion Picture? Because there's a bald chick in that who's really beautiful. Basic Instinct has Bush. Not too many mainstream movies do, but I mean, when's the last time a movie showed Bush in a movie? Hard to think of one. Boobs in Airplane. That's a good call. That might have been my first two now that I think about it. It's such a quick shot, though. What's up, too, Muscly? Are people just joining now? I'm about to... I don't remember The Master. I remember seeing it in the theater. I don't remember anything about it. I really don't. I don't remember anything about that movie. Yeah, I get that people like Drew Barrymore. I just, I don't know. She's got that stroke face and that voice. It just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, it was the Star Trek movie is Star Trek: The Motion Picture from 1979, and the woman you think of is one of the main women. Yeah, she's bald. I think she's Indian. She's really beautiful. She passed away not long after the movie. She died very young. The actress. She looks even better with hair, though. When you see her with hair, she's striking. Kramer versus Kramer had Bush? I've never seen it. Wrath of Khan was not 85. Good Lord. Wrath of Khan is 82. No Star Trek movie released in 85. Wrath of Khan was 82. Star Trek 3 is 84. Star Trek 6 is 86. Star Trek 4 is 86, Star Trek 5 is 89, Star Trek 6 is 91, Star Trek Generations is 94, Star Trek First Contact is 96, Star Trek Insurrection is 98, Star Trek Nemesis is 2001. Terrible. That's my superpowers. I know the years of when movies came out. Most movies. I used to have a friend
in high school, she would call me up, like, you know, it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be like a Thursday night, and she would just go through the TV guide and ask me what year a movie came out. And I'd be like, oh, and I was always strongest if it was in my lifetime. Like, speaking of Quantum Leap, it had to be within my lifetime, because Quantum Leap, he can only leap within his lifetime. I'm mainly good only within my lifetime, you know, but I'm okay prior. You know, like, I could tell you what year Psycho came out or whatever, but like, she would, like, we'd spend like 2 hours on the phone and she would just read through the TV guide and be like, okay, you know, she's like, The Karate Kid. I'm like, come on, 1984. You know, she'd be like, okay, I'll get a more obscure one. And once in a while she'd ding me, but I was pretty 100%, 99.2%. Julianne Moore is an anomaly because she's a redheaded actress, and normally redheaded females notoriously don't age well. She's aged beautifully, and she still looks good. Yeah, she's great in Shortcuts. She's great in Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights, man, she shows everything in Boogie Nights. See, we all got our superpowers. You can tell the weight and height of any 80s wrestler. That's fine. Yeah. I used to get wrestling magazines in the 80s. I mean, I actually had a subscription to WWF magazine, but then there would be like other wrestling magazines. I can't think of their names. But they'd have all these other people, like the Road Warriors or even Ric Flair or something like that, or Sting, and I'd be like, who are these people? I don't know, because I couldn't see. I never watched anything but WWF in the 80s. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about these guys. They were from like an alternate universe. William Randolph Hearst was paid back a long time ago. Oh, yeah, well, you're right. Yeah. William Randolph Hearst still wants to do Perry stuff. I don't get that impression at all. I don't talk to him much at all, no. Yeah, I saw there was some clip where he was playing the Perry stream, but he seemed very out of touch with it. Like, he didn't really know anything. I mean, I only saw one clip where he was playing it on the show. You can tell all the names of the guys in Judas Priest's old lineup, but can only guess at dates of albums. Yeah, I'm good with dates of albums. I'm good with dates of songs came out, things like that. I just have a thing with years because I associate it with what I was doing at the time. Like, I know when certain things came out or when certain shows came out or any kind of entertainment thing, because I could always associate it. Like, oh, I was in 7th grade. I can almost narrow it down to the month. Like with movies, like, oh, I know that came out in November. I know this came out in March. That was like, you know, certain movies have a feel to it. Like, that's a winter release. That's a fall release. That's a summer movie. That's a winter movie. That's a Christmas movie. Yeah, that's always his song and dance that his wife, because he was at, he went to one of the weekends, I don't know, a number of years ago now, and he got really entrenched in it, and then his wife gave him the business, and then he backed away for a long time. But that's bullshit, because it doesn't take that much. So I don't know. I don't buy that song and dance he gives. No, I never saw Gavin McGinnis as an effing asshole. Bradley Cooper and Scott Bakula do not belong in the same sentence together. I think Bradley Cooper, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. And I don't think Bakula's doing that. You gotta understand the amount of money that if you're the star of a network show, how much money Bakula must be pulling in. It's got to be comparable to anything Bradley Cooper's making. He does like 20 plus whatever shows a season. He's got to be getting paid. They're deep into that show now. He's got to be getting paid some decent money. Yeah, I agree with you, Philip. I've said that before. Gavin's thing with everybody hates Perry is bullshit, and that's not what this That's not what Perry Caravello Live's about, for sure. No, fuck. I certainly don't hate. I can't hate Perry. I don't hate Perry. I love Perry. I mean, I fucking basically ruined my life supporting him over the past 4 years. So, and I don't think Perry's a truly terrible person. He doesn't. So that to me, he just doesn't get the basic nature of things. And yeah, we can get frustrated at Perry. I definitely get frustrated with Perry. I'll yell at him for certain things, especially when he says things that he shouldn't say or whatever. But at the core, you love him, and the whole thing with Perry stuff is most people like Gavin, he just comes in and out and does his little thing, but he never deals with the maintenance aspect of Perry. And tomorrow, I'll be talking to Perry. We'll be talking about real stuff. He'll go over finance stuff, and I'll probably get into what worked about tonight and what didn't, and it's very human and very sincere, and he'll even today. I had to call him. I called him. I said, Perry, there might be a possibility that there's not going to be a stream tonight because I don't have any electricity, and he was like, all right, he was very understanding and very cool. And I was like, look, Perry, just be cool tonight, please. Don't go crazy if somebody sends you this or that. No, I'll be fine. Don't worry. I know. But of course, once we get into it, it changes. Your wife. Yeah, I can understand if your wife gives you a hard time about being at the Perry. Bakula had it written into his Star Trek Enterprise contract that filming be done by 6 p.m. every night so he could be home to have dinner with his family. During the production of NCIS New Orleans, he made sure to return home to Los Angeles every weekend to be with his wife. See, that's a decent guy. That is a decent man. That's why you root for a guy like Bakula, because he's a decent human being. He's a nice guy. How can you not love that? That's great. I didn't know any of that. That's great. He just every time I've seen him, he just seems so decent. It's so rare in Hollywood to see those people. Oh, Cha-Cha, you're back? Did you go to sleep and wake up? Thank you. I think you're great too. No, John. So this is what happened with the air conditioning thing. I forget. So we went on. I switched him off, and then I had to restart my computer and everything like that, and we were disconnected. And there must have been some point in between that where he turned on his air, and I don't hear it over the phone. I don't hear it on the stream. So he must have turned it on at some point. And then when he said, it was confusing because he's like, I got to turn off my air because I'm cold. I'm like, and it was hours later. What do you mean turn it off? It was off. I was like, oh my God. So he gave himself away. He did. He could have totally got away with it, and then he gave himself away. He's such a little sneak with stuff like that too. But I think it's funnier almost that he did that because it's so Perry. I need to get there. I'll never get the claws built in. It's fucking 6:10 in the morning here. I'm officially in another 20 minutes. I'm officially up for 24 hours. It's crazy, but I'm on adrenaline this week because I've just had to do so many fucking things. I've just learned to deal with no sleep or very little sleep. But that's Perry. It's funny. On one hand, he's a sneak, and the other hand, he could have turned. There's a very legitimate possibility also that he just forgot. It's not so. It was supposed to be nice today, but it looks weird. It's foggy out now. It's it doesn't look nice. Somebody asked earlier, has Don ever officially given Perry reins to you? No, I don't really have to ask anybody for Perry's reins when I've been taking care of him financially for the past 4 years. I think Perry gave me the reins when he lost his disability. We have to do an after-hours breakfast with TomB someday. All the Long Island guys. Yeah, I think there's enough Long Island people to make that work. We can hit up a diner or something. I'm moving to the same place, same town. I'm in Westbury, Long Island. I'm like literally 10 minutes away with no traffic. The other day it took like almost a half hour, but that was like prime time traffic. But yeah, this drive will be 10 minutes. But I still have shit in this apartment that I've been putting off, like little things laying around. I got to clean it and everything. And just, I don't know. I got until Wednesday to do everything, to get everything out. You know, there's no Wegmans near me. There's Wegmans near my sister in Pennsylvania, and I love Wegmans. It's probably the best supermarket. They opened one in Brooklyn. But I wish Wegmans would come to Long Island. It's a great supermarket. Ooh, we had a root count today. God damn. Well, I'm happy to distract you then. But yeah, so and if it's like I don't know, like I know we talk about how moving sucks, but it's just that California trip ruined me because it just took me off the timing to like pack everything, and like there's like little things left here that I just got to go and pack up. So yeah, Wegmans is upstate New York. It's in Pennsylvania. It's in different places, but yeah. So Robert and I went to this. I was staying at the Hilton in LA, right? And the Saturday after the shoot that Perry did the Adult Swim, I was kind of fried and I was tired. It was hot out, and I just kind of wanted to hang back at the hotel. So we went back to the hotel, and we were at the hotel. There's not a lot of options to like eat food, but then they had this buffet, and I was like, a buffet at a hotel, that's bad news. We don't want to do that. But man, I still think about that buffet was awesome. They had a raw bar. It was weird because like COVID things, like you couldn't actually get anything yourself. You had to ask somebody like to get like oysters or something like that. But it was still, yeah, I still think about that. It was amazing. Even though my diet, not diet, but this week my eating's been very on the level. Yeah, I think Wegmans is in a lot of places on the East Coast. Yeah, lobster you know what they had at that buffet? Lobster thermidor and bone marrow. I have never seen bone marrow at a buffet, and it was good bone marrow. It wasn't shit. It's crazy. Yeah, it's Wegmans. One of these days, Wegmans will come to Long Island. It's a missed market for them. They really need to come to Long Island. But anyway, speaking of Long Island, I got to get my Long Island butt out of here. Yeah, Eric, I'm still on, but whatever. I feel like I owe people a long one tonight because of all the tech. We had a lot of technical glitches at the start. No, it was bone marrow. It was bone marrow, like on the bone, cut bone marrow, and it was good. Yeah, Wawa would be great on Long Island too. But I should go. I wanted to do, like I said, I wanted to do a long stream tonight because I kept Perry. I wanted to keep Perry past midnight. Now I don't feel obligated. I just, I was up anyway. I know my body. I'm not going to be going to bed anytime soon either. I got to pack up shit. I'm wired. Like this week kicked my ass, but I'm not. It's weird. Like even though this week kicked my ass, I'm not tired. I'm just like wired, and I have a hard time sleeping. Like I've had a hard time sleeping lately. So if I'm not doing this, I'd be doing something else, and I can't do anything else because I don't have any internet at home. So this is my only internet. Oh, you were purposely keeping me here to think I'd sober up. Well, I didn't. There's no sobering up needed tonight because I only had really one. I had one little sip of that whiskey because I just think it's decent. If somebody sends you booze, you have to at least taste it. Wednesday, I did take a little too much. I will say Wednesday was pushing it, and I did stay at the apartment long enough where I was okay to drive back because I wanted to upload the stream and everything. I can't do that tonight, this morning I should say. So the credenza upload is going to be a little delayed, but because I got to edit together the other 2 segments, and I'll have to do that later today, which means I got to come back to the apartment to do it. But yeah, so I just was going to be up anyway, and whatever. But I'm not going to. I'll probably go to bed in about another 90 minutes or so, and I'll sleep till about noon, maybe if I'm lucky. Oh no, I can't. I got a guy coming over. Oh shit! I really fucked myself. I got a guy coming to the house to do some electrics thing at 10. So I'm not gonna be. So I'm either gonna stay up or whatever. 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 We had fun. So I'm gonna call it here, and we'll see you Sunday. Sunday noon start, noon Pacific on Sunday. That works out for me. Works out for you, hopefully, and we'll have fun with that. And then hopefully, I'll actually have internet at my at my house on Monday, and I can actually move my whole system over there. And I'm sure we'll have new problems along the way. Thanks, Harry. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'll probably stay up. Whatever, who cares? I'll catch up at some point. But thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging in. And we'll talk later about nudity and HBO movies. You know who opened for Fugazi? It was the other way around. I saw Fugazi open for My Bloody Valentine, but I don't remember who opened for Fugazi. Thanks. I'll drive. I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I'm gonna load some stuff. There are these shopping carts in my building complex, and they're hard to come by. I have one actually in the apartment now because the first floor is pretty much empty, and I'm just gonna load a bunch of shit in there, load it in the car, and drive back, and maybe sleep for a couple hours, maybe not. But anyway, I'll see you on Sunday. Yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying up.